Hey guys, what's going on? It's Neo here, and in this video I'm going to be talking about Uncharted 4: A Thief's End multiplayer, which was just revealed at Paris Games Week. Sony and Naughty Dog, they had Christophe Balestra come out on stage during the press conference and actually unveil a new cinematic trailer for the multiplayer. We saw a bunch of different things in this trailer, some things that we do need to discuss and actually talk about, but we'll get into that later. But for now, for this video, I actually just wanted to basically just give you my kind of impressions, my thoughts on the multiplayer so far. I did do a little digging and actually looked at some gameplay that was captured off screen from IGN and like two other sources, in which I was actually able to see what the multiplayer itself looked like. One of the other sources actually had like in-game screen capture, which would be PS3 something HD or whatever, PS3 gaming. It's like one of the older accounts, one of the guys that always usually gets like the newest gaming clips and everything. So I ended up watching that video as well. So we've seen some particularly interesting things, but what I want to talk about is what so far we see in the trailer. So in the trailer, they show this new they show off the new map, of course, that they're unveiling, that they're starting with, which is, of course, I can already tell is going to be like one of people's it's going to be a fan favorite, basically. It's a close quarters map. It's like there's hardly really any places to kind of hide. What it really reminds me of is actually, what is it? It's not Dry Docks, but the other ship map. I think it is called Shipwrecked. I don't know if that might be just the title of the actual chapter in Uncharted 3, but there was that map that actually took place on cargo that was on a ship. And the middle of that map was basically completely empty, save for like a couple of different like cargo boxes that you could kind of hide behind, and they had two sides in which you could climb up and enter through and get like the power weapons and stuff. But you could actually just go around the whole map, but the middle was where the action took place. And that's kind of how I see this map, is just the design of it and the look of it kind of is reminiscent of that a little bit. So I can definitely see that it's going to be like a checkpoint in The Last of Us, a village from Uncharted 2, like the desert village from Uncharted 3. It's just going to be one of those close quarters maps that people are going to want to play on a lot, just because you'll always be able to find somebody. So we ended up seeing some gameplay of that, and what we saw was like we had a couple of different characters being thrown in and out. We saw Lazarevic, we saw Eddie Raja, we saw Harry Flynn, Sam Drake, if that's actually going to be his last name, if he is related to Nathan Drake. We saw him, we saw Elena, we saw Sully, we saw Cutter, we saw Marlowe, we saw I think I saw Ramses too. At one point he had like his hat on, but I'm not sure if that might have been a customizable character or not. But yeah, so we saw a lot of characters. We saw Chloe, of course, but then we also saw like some really big things that ended up standing out to me were actually the mysticals and the sidekicks, excuse me. That's the ones that people are like really kind of like paying attention to, because of the fact that they're basically kickbacks and the power plays from Uncharted 3. And if you know anybody that's played all the Uncharted games, and specifically Uncharted 2, that grew up and kind of helped that community form, Robin Gaming, Rock Show, Broke Games HD, Kragen, all those people, like, and those are just kind of the big names, but there's still a lot of people out there like myself who actually played that game and made a lot of friends on PS3 that way. If you know any of us, then you know that we really preferred Uncharted 2's multiplayer to Uncharted 3, because Uncharted 3 had so many problems with power plays and giving, as Broken Games kind of calls it, crutches to so many like players and stuff. There was really no skill involved in Uncharted 3 compared to Uncharted 2 and compared to The Last of Us, which was much better off from the beginning and only got even better with fan feedback and Naughty Dog listening to the forums and what people had to say about the multiplayer. So, but they got it right from the beginning mostly, so they had not too much to worry about. But the mysticals, basically the way the Naughty Dog explains it, are these special power-ups and mystical abilities from the past Uncharted games like El Dorado, and I'm sure there'll probably be a crazy one like a Yeti or something like that. I don't know, something weird like that, or like the stone of Shambhala that Lazarevic ended up having. There'll probably be some crazy stuff like that incorporated into the multiplayer, and that's what's got people on edge, is because we thought we had moved past this and learned how to do things a little bit differently and better in terms of balancing the multiplayer. When The Last of Us introduced purchasable weapons and a stat system basically of currency that when it was in Uncharted 3, it was the medals that each time you earned a medal, it would work towards your kickback of your choice. But in The Last of Us, they based everything off of points, even to the point where the end of the round or like the match would result in the person with the most points from assists, revives, and kills would be the #1 player, and it wouldn't just be the player with the most amount of kills as the #1. And so, and that's actually what I was going to say, is it kind of looks like they're doing that with Uncharted 4's multiplayer. I actually went through the videos and found a screenshot that showed this person being the top player, but they had more cash, like they had more points. And I think that's kind of what this is going to go through as well. And I also pulled some other different screenshots because, like I said, I went through pretty much like all these videos and just dissected what I found to be the most interesting things. And I already know that I am not going to be able to really even consider talking about all the stuff that I want to talk about. So if there's something that I forget, I'm probably just going to be having showed it already in the video or showing it as I speak and just kind of like putting text over it, because I only have, I'm at 6 minutes right now. I only have 15 minutes to even talk because of the limit that's been put on my account until January. So getting back to that currency system, the way I saw it was that the mysticals are, there's like 3 things when I was looking at a screenshot that I had taken. There was 3 things in the loadout system. There was this grenade, there was the sidekick icon, and then there was the mystical icon. And it looked like when you killed somebody at certain times, there'd be an icon for the sidekick, and then it would, my assumption would be either that killing somebody a certain way gives you points towards either the sidekick or the mystical, or it just was indicating that you now have enough points to get the sidekick, and as soon as you get enough points for the mystical, it'll show that icon as soon as you kill somebody too. Kind of like The Last of Us, how it actually showed you like, oh, you have enough for ammo, but it wouldn't show you that you had enough for a purchasable until you actually got to that point. So that's kind of what I'm expecting. So I think it's really cool that they're doing that and taking a lot of stuff from The Last of Us, because I think that they got a lot of stuff right. And The Last of Us just had a very more slow-paced gameplay style that was very reminiscent of Uncharted 2. And one of the other things that I want to talk about was, I know I'm not really talking about the trailer anymore, but I'm kind of going to other stuff, was actually just the presentation was just very clean. Uncharted 3 to me was the colors were weird compared to Uncharted 2. The character models in the multiplayer looked fat and just like bad. Like if you compare like Drake from my favorite Drake in Uncharted 2 to use the skin was the Drake's Fortune Drake. I just really love that skin. I know a lot of people like the Heist Drake and some other ones, but my favorite was actually the Drake's Fortune one. But he looked ridiculous. Like you couldn't really tell that was Drake's Fortune Drake, because he just, I don't know, there just was no detail. He also just looked really fat. A lot of the characters just looked weirdly shaped, and that might have had something to do with the camera, how close it was or how far away or whatever, but I think it was more of the models just looked a little strange. And the ones in Uncharted 4's trailer looked way better. They looked way slimmer, cleaner, more like what you'll see in the campaign, I'm sure. And so I really had an appreciation for that. But not only that, but just the loadouts, the UI, like the whole HUD just looked way cleaner, way slicker. You saw a lot more white, a lot more cyan, which was very reminiscent of The Last of Us as well. There's more white and more green in The Last of Us. The reticles for all the guns looked great. The sounds of the AK was fantastic, like way better than that pitter-patter sound that we got in the Uncharted 3 subway beta. Like that thing was horrible, and they ended up changing it. I mean, I've always been a fan of the Uncharted 2 kind of shrapnel, not so realistic AK sound, but like I really liked the sound of that gun. But no, I did not like it in Uncharted 3. There was just so many cosmetic things, along with so many like actual gameplay things that were wrong with Uncharted 3, and that a lot of people feel the same. And one of those to me was the menu was ugly. Uncharted TV was kind of a cool thing, but it was also a big factor in the lag, and also just was not pleasant to look at. And once you got rid of it, it made the menu look a little bit better. But things look really clean and really square and really even in terms of fitting into the frame on the screen, and that's a thumbs up for me. So what are we at? 10 minutes? All right, so the other stuff that we saw in the trailer, aside from the mysticals, was the sidekicks, which also, like I talked about, were a thing that I believe are going to be like purchasable things. And so the sidekick, what they are basically NPCs that you can call in, and basically either, I heard from IGN that there's a guy with a Gatling gun or whatever. There's one of those chokers, the blue guys, like, I mean, the black guys with the gas mask, and even the icon for the sidekick is actually like a choker guy. It's got the little gas mask thing on there. So you can call one of those people in. You can call a sniper in. You can call a person to go in and revive some teammates. And to me, those kind of like sidekick characters remind me of like the dogs in Call of Duty, or like when you call in a certain like machine to go off and randomly get you kills or whatever. That's kind of what that reminds me of. I'm sure maybe there'll even be one where like there'll just be a guy that just goes around tagging people, which is actually something that I saw that you can do, is that you can actually call people out. You could in Uncharted 3, but it was like really like not you couldn't tell that people were being marked really. I could never really figure that out. Calling out was never a thing that I noticed so much in Uncharted 3 as it was in Uncharted or The Last of Us, because they actually had markers over their heads. They show up on the map and stuff. And that was kind of like the thing that I noticed, was that people actually, you do see them on the screen being marked, and they actually have added a radar system, which a lot of people are already complaining about. It's kind of cool to me a little bit, just because I think it's pretty cool in The Last of Us or whatever. I didn't ever really like radar in Call of Duty, just because I thought it was kind of useless with how quickly people disappear anyways. But in The Last of Us, it was kind of useful to know when people were in a certain area, but everything still felt balanced. But in Uncharted 4 and in Uncharted, the gameplay wise, I just don't think it's necessary. So, but yeah, so the sidekicks, it's weird because I don't know if they'll just like, and we're at 12 minutes, I don't know if they'll just like spawn like in the map somewhere, or just like spawn on you. I noticed that when I saw them, they magically fall from the heavens and like this smoke pops up. So I don't know how that's going to turn out. We'll probably just have to wait and see and play the beta. I do have the Nathan Drake collection, so that's probably what I'm going to do, is end up playing the beta. And I know that a lot of people are like, you know, kind of hoping that they end up just pushing the beta to public access, you know, for free for everybody that has Plus, which I can see them doing. But knowing Naughty Dog and knowing Sony, they're probably going to restrict it to just people that ended up buying that particular collection. And I guess what I should probably tell you is that there is no code inside the Uncharted Nathan Drake collection. There is no code. Basically, all it says that when you get it is you get this piece of paper, and on the back it just says to put the game into your system, go to the menu where normally you see the owner's manual and you see all the players, that your friends that have the game, and it just says then when the game is up on the store, just go and click that and then you can download it. So if you want to like go to GameStop and get like a pre-owned copy and then return it within the 7 days to get your full warranty, you could probably do that. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, I know I'm out of time, but like I said, I probably in post editing just threw all the other stuff that was in there that I had found and stuff. So I know like I said, I already missed some stuff in terms of what was in the trailer, but we are limited by what we can say in this 15-minute video. So closing thoughts, I really like it. Like, I mean, I'm really interested in seeing how things are done. I think probably when I get the beta though, I'm not going to be playing with the R2 and L2 triggers, just because when I've been playing the Nathan Drake collection, it's so awkward. Like, it's fine when you play The Last of Us to switch from this to this, because, you know, it's like this is sprinting, this is now listen mode or whatever. But for Uncharted, it's always been this way, and then this button right here is your grenade, and it's like when you are wanting to throw a quick nade, you just tap it. You just tap it like that. I don't play aiming with my middle finger, so why would I do that and then tap with my index finger to quick throw a grenade? That doesn't make any sense. You know how awkward that is to hold the controller like that? So I hold it like this, but I don't want to go like, and then switch up and tap it to quick throw a grenade. That's just not fun. But anyways, I appreciate you guys for checking this video out. It felt really good to get back and just kind of do a My Thoughts video on just anything really, but it felt great to do it on Uncharted. So I look forward to seeing what you guys have to say. Like I said, I'll probably have put in the stuff in the video, and I have like 10 seconds, so I'm gonna get off. Thanks for watching, guys. Yeah.